The girl went crazy and fell from the bed to the ground. A kind-hearted old woman helped her up, but in the next moment, the old woman was attacked. Why did the girl suddenly go insane? Who is this old woman? The story begins in Haiti in 2010. David and his wife, Des, came to this country for a vacation. Des was about to give birth in a little over a month. David went out to buy something. While Des stayed in the hotel room, she suddenly heard a loud noise outside, and then there was a major earthquake. Des quickly followed the crowd downstairs. David had already reached the hotel lobby. Cars were running wild on the streets. David couldn't even stand steadily. He watched helplessly as cracks appeared in the hotel wall. At the same time, the stairs in the hotel suddenly collapsed. Dice fell downstairs. When David walked into the hotel, Dice is buried in stone. After everyone's rescue efforts, Des was finally taken to the hospital. The doctor told David that the woman's injuries were extremely serious. At that moment, they could only save either the mother or the child. In the end, David chose to save the child. 13 years later, the baby from back then had grown into a young girl. Her name is Angela, and she is studying in the United States. Every day, David still takes Angela to school. Angela has a good friend at school named Catherine. One afternoon after school, Angela didn't return to David's photography studio as usual. They secretly went to play in the dense forest behind the school. They then came to a tunnel and jumped in. They performed an inexplicable summoning ritual. Unbeknownst to them, it became dark outside. David only realized that Angela hadn't returned to the shop. He hurriedly drove back home. He found Angela not at home either. David anxiously found Catherine's parents, Tony and Eileen. The three of them went to the dense forest to search. David saw the entrance to the tunnel and found his daughter's pendant. As he moved a stone, he was startled by a crawling snake. David fell to the ground. Then David saw Angela's shoe in the water. Meanwhile, Eileen saw Catherine's backpack in the bushes. The parents found out that the children were missing. The three of them immediately called the police. They checked the surveillance footage together at the police station. The police immediately deployed personnel to start searching for the two individuals that night. During the day, the police mobilized more forces to search for them. The news media continuously reported on the case. They searched for 2 days but found nothing. On the second night, David's neighbor Jack brought an African shaman to perform a ritual at their house. David didn't believe in it and chased everyone away. On a rainy day, at a farm 50 kilometers away, the staff discovered Angela and Catherine crouched in a warehouse and immediately called the police. The police quickly took both of them to the hospital. David rushed to the hospital. Angela believed they had only been missing for a few hours. Medical staff conducted a comprehensive physical examination of both individuals. Later, the police informed the parents that their testimonies were consistent. They hadn't suffered any physical harm. While the police were communicating with the parents, the two individuals started behaving abnormally at the hospital. Angela was even able to shatter the glass with a slap. She strongly insisted on going back home. They both returned to their respective homes. David talked to his daughter about that night's events. Angela said they heard someone calling their names but didn't see anyone. At that moment, a ghostly figure stood behind David. Angela saw it, but she didn't say anything. Angela just said, "Stay away from me." David thought his daughter was talking to him. So, he went back to his room to rest. Meanwhile, a ghostly figure was approaching Catherine. Since that day, David felt that strange things were happening in the house. Angela inexplicably started wetting the bed. David took Angela to the bathroom. Angela was originally planning to take a bath. Suddenly, she disappeared. The bathtub was filled with black water. Angela broke her own fingernail. David was attacked by Angela while searching for her. She pushed David to the ground. Then Angela lay on the ground, trembling. David had no choice but to take Angela to the hospital. Nurse Lai gave her an injection. Angela finally calmed down. The doctor also found multiple scratches on Angela's body. David chatted with Rai in the hallway about this strange situation. Meanwhile, Catherine also went mad in the church. The possessing evil spirit openly challenged the authority of the Pope. Everyone was shocked. Catherine spoke maliciously, blaspheming against God. Tony and Eileen quickly took Catherine to the hospital. There they met David. The three of them communicated and agreed that their daughters were possessed by some kind of evil spirit. At night, Lai went to check on Angela and found that no medical equipment had any effect on her. Angela also revealed her former name as a nun and the story of a woman being pregnant. Lai was shocked. Then blood started oozing from the girl's body. She even emitted demonic laughter. Subsequently, Angela was sent to a psychiatric hospital. One day, David returned from the psychiatric hospital. Lai was waiting for him at the doorstep. Lai revealed that the demon knew about her past desire to become a nun and her pregnancy. Lai also gave a book to David, hoping it would help him. David realized he had to find an exorcist for assistance. The author of the book, Mary, is an expert in exorcism. He also searched for Mary's related video materials online. So, David drove to find this exorcism expert. Meanwhile, Lai found a priest and asked for his help. David arrived at Mary's house. Mary warmly welcomed him. After understanding the situation, she revealed that she had sacrificed her own daughter's life for exorcism. However, in the end, Mary accompanied David to the psychiatric hospital. Coincidentally, Lai also arranged for the priest to come there. The priest said he wouldn't perform an exorcism without approval. Mary decided to observe the situation first before deciding how to proceed. They arrived at Angela's private room. Mary asked about another person's whereabouts. David said she was locked up at home. Mary expressed that it wasn't a good idea. The demon taunted Mary through the glass. They went to Tony's house. The house was in a chaotic state. It seems that the evil spirit possessing Catherine has done a lot of bad things. Finally, they saw Tony sitting slumped in a chair. Tony was already incoherently babbling. Mary went upstairs alone and found Catherine reading a book. The demon possessing her immediately recognized Mary. It turned out that they had interacted years ago. Mary's daughter had been possessed by the same demon. Although Mary successfully exorcised it, she couldn't save her daughter's life. The demon shouted from the bed. Then the demon began to control Catherine, making her go into a frenzy. Catherine fell off the bed. Mary helped her up. In the next moment, the demon directly grabbed a cross and viciously attacked Mary. Mary's eyes were smashed by her. David heard the screams from upstairs and hurried upstairs. At that moment, Mary was already severely injured. Catherine also lay unconscious on the bed. David quickly rushed Mary to the hospital for treatment. Mary's life was not in danger, but her eyes were beyond saving. Subsequently, the priest intensified the process of reporting and seeking approval for the exorcism from the church. The archbishop held multiple hearings. David found Mary and apologized to her. Mary said it was all God's plan. She asked David to find more exorcists from other religions to drive away the demons as soon as possible. David remembered that their neighbor Jack had consulted an African shaman before, so David asked Jack for the phone number. David found an African shaman. After some understanding between the two parties, the African wizard did not back down. So David invited the African shaman back to his house. They prepared to tie Angela and Catherine to chairs, and then the African shaman would perform the exorcism. Leigh placed hospital equipment to the side in case of danger. The demon possessing Angela continued to struggle. Later, Tony also brought Catherine over. At that moment, the priest came and told Leigh that the church didn't approve of the priest's exorcism. They wanted to pursue treatment through a mental hospital. It turned out that the church was afraid of taking responsibility, so they didn't grant approval. Angry, David turned and left. The priest gave a Bible to Leigh and told her to recite it during critical moments. He also gave Leigh a cross. The priest meant for Leigh to take the priest's place in performing the exorcism. Leigh agreed willingly. Everyone was arguing because the priest couldn't attend. Leigh said she could perform the ritual. After everything was prepared, the African shaman made an appearance. Leigh stood by, continuously reciting the Bible. The two demons gradually awakened and were not afraid of these things at all. The demon possessing Catherine declared that everyone would die tonight. Soon, they attacked Leigh by bringing up her past of having an abortion. Leigh became emotionally overwhelmed and stopped reciting the Bible. The African shaman immediately started reciting an incantation. Leigh regained her composure and held the cross, resuming the recitation of the Bible. The demons became increasingly agitated, and the nearby medical equipment started screeching. Their exorcism ritual encountered a bottleneck, so they had to take a break. After a while, the African shaman took out special holy water and sprinkled it on both individuals. This time, the holy water worked. The two demons continued to shake and emitted yellow smoke. The African shaman quickly lit a fireplace, and black smoke emerged. The black smoke slowly gathered around the yellow smoke, enveloping it, and finally disappeared in the fireplace. The African shaman brought out a basin of dirty water and instructed David to pour it outside. Meanwhile, the priest was still reciting the Bible in the car. David informed the priest that the battle had begun. When David returned, he discovered that the demons hadn't left. The demon knocked the cross off Leigh's hand. The evil spirit began to use words to attack the pain points in everyone's heart. Just when everyone was desperate, the priest burst in and started reciting the Bible. The priest's exorcism power was incredibly strong. He instantly subdued the demons, silencing their voices. Everyone joined him in reciting the Bible. However, the two demons possessed great strength. They twisted the priest's head 180 degrees, causing him to collapse and die. At this moment, David suddenly remembered something. He took the scarf his wife had used before and placed it on Angela. He kept urging his daughter to return to him. The power of family seemed to have some effect. Leigh urged David to continue. Suddenly, Angela levitated and vomited a large amount of black water while facing upwards. There were eerie vortexes within the black water. The two demons finally left the premises. However, they took Catherine's soul with them. The movie basically ends here. This is the latest Exorcist film released in the United States in 2023. Perhaps the previous Exorcist films were too classic. The horror effects in this film were not very impressive. Rotating a person's head 180 degrees is already a scene used in old movies. It's worth mentioning that the actress who played Mary in the film also portrayed the mother in the 1973 version of The Exorcist. Finally, the director brought up the point that exorcism is not unique to the Christian family. Demons can also be cast out by other faiths. The film ends with the surprising impact of familial love, perhaps including Angela's own efforts. Alright, that concludes today's movie. See you next time.